All right. Thank you, everybody, for being patient with me on that. I just spent the last 12 minutes of my life trying to figure out the back end of StreamYard. So, for uh, for those of you who've been waiting, here's the opportunity for us to finally get started. My name is Dr. Erik Reis. I am a co-founder of Nobody Studios, and I am currently our director of health and wellness. And I'm super excited to talk to you today about why Nobody Studios is the future of health and wellness because I truly believe that it is. We are tirelessly working behind the scenes on trying to find ways to create amazing companies to solve some of the massive problems that we currently have in healthcare. And what I want to do is I want to take everybody through this today because I think it's super important for us to talk about. Um, for those of you who don't know what Nobody Studios is, I want to just give a brief background because I think it'll explain some things as to why we're venturing into the healthcare space, and more importantly, why we're venturing in other aspects and other verticals as well too. And so, Nobody Studios is a venture studio, and we are focused on creating 100 compelling companies in the next 5 years. A venture studio is essentially a company that creates companies from scratch. Traditionally speaking, if you think of VCs, venture capital, as the bankers, the organizations that allocate capital to startups, projects, things along those lines, and accelerators and incubators are companies that come and help accelerate or move companies through specific stages. A venture studio is really the creators and the builders. We align along founders, co-founders, industry experts, entrepreneurs, to take them from an idea all the way through enterprise. And what that means is that we are allocating, marketing, branding, tech stack, leadership, legal advice, helping them with subsequent fundraising rounds. We're providing every single piece of the coveted infrastructure for a startup so that founders can focus on the company and not spending excessive amounts of time going out to having to raise or going out and having to figure out their marketing efforts. They can build their product, they can sell their product, and they can help the customers that they're trying to appeal to. And so, what's unique about the venture studio model is that we're able to take companies and bring them faster to market. And this is a massive, massive edge that we carry, especially within the health and wellness space. We're also focused on building companies in a more frugal or progressive kind of way. And this is a term that we had coined, being frugal, but also being aggressive with our mentality of being able to take an idea and turn it into a viable company as quickly as possible. And then the other thing too is that we're hoping to have a higher frequency of exits. We're not just waiting for a unicorn to come through and hope that we've built this company the right way. As most people have seen, markets are shifting, right? The financial sector is shifting. Global economies are shifting in a very rapid rate. We no longer have the long awaited times allocated for large companies to come through. And while we hope that some of our companies do become unicorns, we're really focused on earlier high quality exits because we believe in that. And what's amazing about this is that venture studios have a pretty impressive rate of success. If you take a look at this graph, this came from the GSSN white paper that they had published a while ago about venture studios. And what's amazing about this is that venture studios have an amazing ability to take an idea and a company from inception to even a Series A or even a seed round. I mean, taking a company to a seed round within 12 months versus the traditional startup method, which takes about 36 months. So going from a seed round within a year versus 3 years is pretty notable. But even going to a Series A or even subsequent raising rounds, I mean, on average, venture studios get organizations to go to a Series A within 24 months, within 2 years. Whereas with a traditional startup venture model, it takes anywhere from around 54 months. So going from 2 years to 4.5 years is pretty powerful. What's also amazing about this is that the venture studio model has some pretty notable successes behind it. Um, these are just a couple examples of companies that have come out from a venture studio model. Companies like Xylo, Dollar Shave Club, Aircall, Snowflake, a massive, massive unicorn, Hims, Picasa, even Bitly. I'm sure there are a lot of you on this event today that use some of these products, some of these companies, some of these services. And so the venture studio model, as weird as it sounds, really isn't that new. Ideal Lab started back in 1996, and To be fair, they've taken more than 5,000 ideas. They've built 150 companies, and they've had about 50 IPOs and acquisitions. They've had a pretty impressive run so far. Well, this is exactly why we're building Nobody Studios. And to be honest with you, we've been pretty fortunate so far. We've not only amassed an amazing team, had some amazing employees and individuals come into the studio, but we've had some top-notch investors. And I'll cover those in a little bit. But in 2022, we got out of 550 global venture studios, we got rated in the top 10. We are one of the youngest to be rated in the top 10. I think the average studio has been around for about 5, 10, 15 years in that list, and we've only been around for 2. So while we can toot our horn and talk about some of the great things that have happened so far, the proof really is going to be in the pudding for us long term. But needless to say, it's an exciting time to be building in the venture studio space because we truly believe that what we're doing is going to solve a lot of the world's problems. And for me specifically, I'm specifically looking into the healthcare space. One of the core theses that we have as a venture studio is that we firmly believe that patients are taking their health into their own hands. We believe that individualized medicine is the wave of the future, not because we want it to be, but because we truly feel as though it needs to be. People are getting fed up with the current system because it's really set as a one size fits all. It's not individualized. It's not specific for you. Most of the ways we make decisions in medicine are based off of, link trees and based off of different types of structures saying, if you answer yes to this question, we put you down this path, or if you answer no, we put you down this path. But the problem with that is that there's no critical thinking. There's no individuality. For those who are aware of behavioral economics and Daniel Kahneman's work, there's no real systems two type of thinking for these types of cases. We intuitively go with a quick judgment or a quick decision or a gut feeling, but in many situations, those are quite wrong. We also believe that the vastly changing landscapes with wearable technologies and biometric data collection, these are going to completely shift the way that we make decisions clinically. I mean, even having access to data from 24/7 data processing for temperature, heart rate variability, pulse oxygenation. I mean, these can be really valuable resources for doctors making clinical decisions. The classic white coat syndrome of patients having elevated blood pressure just seeing a provider can be completely mitigated with patients taking their blood pressure at home and having continuous feedback cycles sent to that provider to know what the patient's average blood pressure has been over the last couple of days, weeks, months, or even years. These can be really impactful and really effective for us because unfortunately, we're broken as a society, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. There are a lot of issues that we're dealing with. And specifically in the States, we're the number one country in the world for providing emergency services and life-saving procedures. Things like heart attacks, things like having a stroke, things like having a traumatic brain injury or some sort of severe ailment that's really truly acute. But outside of that, we're actually falling behind, with chronic diseases costing us around $765 billion a year. And unfortunately, a lot of this is unnecessary treatment and care. One of the biggest problems that we're seeing is that we're seeing chronic health issues, chronic lifestyle mediated problems manifesting over time to become acute situations. So the chronic blood pressure problems, the chronic diabetic issues, the chronic lack of movement, the obesity problem that we're struggling with worldwide, not just in the United States or developed countries. These problems are long-term chronic problems that eventually represent and present themselves into the emergency room as an acute response, as a heart attack, as a stroke. And this becomes a massive problem because chronic diseases are responsible for 70% of the deaths in the United States, and it kills more than 1.7 million people annually. That is a massive amount of our population. And even the obesity rates are staggering as well too. But even a bigger problem is, what about the things that we can't see? I mean, mental health is truly the silent epidemic. This was the epidemic way before COVID came into our life. And it's expected to reach $16 trillion by 2030, affecting over 1 billion people worldwide. That's 1 in 7, 1 in 8 at this point in time. We have some massive problems that we're undertaking. One of the biggest issues in healthcare is that our current system is really making us sick, as I talked about. This lack of individualized medicine, this one size for all mentality in medicine is truly killing us because we're missing things with a lot of people. Clinically, I've seen patients just fall through the cracks of the standardized medical system because if we're a hammer, we're looking for a nail, right? So if I'm a specific type of doctor and I only have a specific set of tools in front of me, I'm only going to use those tools. That doesn't mean that those tools are wrong, but when patients aren't responding, it doesn't mean that it's their fault. It means that maybe we're using the wrong tools. 70 to 90% of all diseases can be attributed to individual environmental factors such as lifestyle, diet, physical activity, disease, mental health, is the list goes on. And almost half of the US population is currently taking one or more prescription drugs to manage a chronic disease that actually has no cure. These people are on medications for things that are not only mediated and probably triggered by lifestyle and diet and exercise and sleep and all these things that we know are really beneficial for our health. But more importantly, too, what does the endpoint look like? Are they on these medications forever? For most of these patients, once they start with one, they're on to the next one and the next one to manage whether new symptoms or side effects from current symptoms from that medication. And this is a problem because your body wants to heal. It was designed to heal itself. And more importantly, we've been healing for centuries, for millennia, right? So think about even 200, 300 years ago, our bodies healed, right? So maybe we weren't dealing with bubonic plagues and, early deaths that we were attributing to, different types of lifestyles or even sanitation in general, but we've modified and we've adapted and grown, but we still have some massive problems. So I have a question for you. What if we knew more? What if we knew more about you? What if we knew more about your genetics? Yes, but your epigenetics, your lifestyle choices, the way you respond to different types of medications or therapies or interventions. Here's the thing we do. The research has shown to some pretty significant efficacies for understanding your physiology, your brain, your body, your nervous system. The problem is that on average, it takes anywhere from 10 to 17 years for research published today to become public knowledge. So I don't know about you, but most of the people that I know and most of the patients that I've worked with don't have a decade or two to wait for the medical experts or for industry to catch up to the research because researchers enjoy doing research and their goal is to solve research-based problems. The application, which is such a perfect fit for the venture studio model, is exactly where the rubber meets the road. And these are the questions that we're contemplating right now is, what if plant medicines were the future of mental health? We believe that they are. What if we could predict and prevent rock bottom before it even happened? What if we could stop somebody on the crash course of their mental health journey and get to them before they actually hit their metaphorical rock bottom? Because every single person's rock bottom is different. What if your doctors knew more about your body than you did? What if we could tell you what medications you would respond to or what you wouldn't respond to? What if we could tell you about different cancer treatments that you could respond to or wouldn't respond to? And what if we could diagnose disease before symptoms even presented? It'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Why would you want to wait around? Why would you wait to go bankrupt before you start saving money or changing your lifestyle habits to be more beneficial with your finances? We truly believe at Nobody Studios that these ideas are possible to achieve. And what's amazing with that too is that there are so many different ways to go about this. One of the top things that we're currently looking at right now is looking into wearable and objective technology. We truly believe that by tracking and understanding your characteristics, your physiology, how your brain, your nervous system, your body respond to different stimuli, it can actually help you not only build an individualized treatment program, but we can actually tell you when things are going wrong or when you should actually take it easy. This whole predictive aspect of understanding a predictive algorithm for wearable spaces is something we're really keen on. We're keen on looking into longevity and biohacking therapeutics because not only do we have people living longer currently today, but people are living longer with disease. Now, I don't know about you, but that's not how I want to go out. I want to go out walking and talking and being independent and having great social relationships and still being able to get up in the morning and do what I want to do. If I can't do that, then we've got a lot of questions to ask, especially as a society that's aging so quickly. And so what we can look into is, can we get people to live longer without disease? Not only is this lifespan, but it's also health span, a massive category of understanding how to get people to live healthy and have the lifespan that they deserve. We're also focused on building software and technology, SaaS-based products helping doctors and providers understand how to effectively help patients. Here's a quick news flash for those of you who aren't in medicine is that your doctor's electronic health records or your doctor's electronic medical records aren't there to help them make better clinical decisions for you. They're there to fulfill the quota of creating codes and systems to get reimbursement through insurance models. Sadly enough, they're not there to facilitate clinical decisions or to facilitate proper follow up with medical providers. And I don't know how many of you on this call have had issues with medicine, but follow up is atrocious. Hopefully, you get a provider who cares and is putting efforts and energy into that. But this is where a lot of patients get lost into the woods is that they don't have the proper follow up. You have to fight tooth and nail and you have to claw your way into just literally getting a ring or a follow up call to set an appointment. Can we streamline some of these things? We believe that we can. We also believe that individualized nutrition and supplementation can hold a significant amount of efficacy in the future too. Understanding your genetics is one thing, but understanding your epigenetics, how your genes are manipulated and turned on and turned off, can be even more powerful because just because you've been dealt a deck of cards doesn't mean you have to play every single card. Your genetics is the blueprint to be able to build your brain and body and rebuild things. But if you're building a home and you choose not to build the garage, then you don't have the garage. It's the same thing for cancer genes and different types of genes that will trigger different types of inflammatory responses. David Sinclair's work out of Harvard is top tier for understanding how to flip our epigenetics and turn on and off specific genes for longevity and prolonging life. We believe we have the tools and the power of what it takes to actually get involved in those studies. More importantly, bringing that research to life through amazing companies, different types of softwares, implementing it together with different types of technology. We also believe that medical devices have a long way to go as well. How do we get people to live longer and live healthier while maintaining independence? We believe that there's a vast market out there. More importantly, too, how do we get people to sleep? How do we get people to improve their quality of sleep? Everybody sleeps, right? We sleep a third of our lives away. But the problem with that is most people don't sleep very well. Most people don't prioritize their sleep. And so for those of you who are familiar with Matthew Walker's book or have picked up his book, it's an amazing, amazing textbook full of information about why we sleep, why sleep is important for us. Not only understanding sleep, but helping people understand when they should go to sleep. Is now a good time to sleep? Just because you went to bed at 10:30, 11, midnight, 1 a.m. for the past week or so, is that actually the best time for you to go to sleep? Well, current wearable technologies on the market today base your sleep times off of historical data. Could they maybe base them off of physiology and understanding your data and your metrics? We believe so, and we're working on that. Plant medicine and mental health is going to be a massive market in the next 5 to 10 years. There's a reason why there's a lot of research and there's a lot of studies and a lot of publicity coming out about this, is that there are some amazing results coming as a result of that. Now, it's not as easy as saying going into plant medicine, you're going to be cured or treated because you still have to do the work, but finding out ways to facilitate education, understanding the risks, the behaviors, the efficacy of combining different aspects of plant medicine, individualized nutrition, even understanding the gut microbiome can be really effective. And even getting into artificial intelligence, machine learning, chat GPT, all of these things that are coming out now can vastly help us improve people's quality of life. Now, what's even more interesting is that as we start building, we've been having some fun successes. And Webdelics is one of the first companies to come out of the health and wellness space, out of Nobody Studios. And what we're doing is we're focused on plant medicine education. Unfortunately, what's happening is that there's a massive echo chamber in the plant medicine space touting how plant medicines can change mental health and addiction. And while we truly believe that, what we also believe too is that there's always three sides to every conversation. And the truth lies somewhere in the middle. And so we have to understand the risks, the efficacies, the contraindications. We have to be able to communicate these things effectively to the population because most people aren't going to read the double-blind placebo-controlled studies coming out of Harvard, Johns Hopkins, NYU, right, Imperial College of London. So Webdelics is essentially designed to be the WebMD for plant medicine and psychedelics. Our goal and our focus is to educate the masses, challenge the narratives of the war on drugs, and to get people to understand why we're building in this space. But more importantly, too, to get people to understand the options that they might have when traditional medicine may not have been able to help them. It's not really a chicken or egg conversation. It's really a yes and conversation. And we're excited about this because we went from 9 months from ideation to launch with this company. We have an amazing board of industry experts, and we have content that is written by some of the top tier talent in the entire industry. But that's not all. We're also focused on developing different companies in the wearable technology and mental health space. So one of the first companies that we're also focusing on is Prehab Life, because we believe that an ounce of prevention is worth 10 pounds of cure. Prehab Life is focused on preventing people from hitting rock bottom and finding ways to do that and meet them where they're at, which is on their devices. We're also focused on sleep. And so Sleep Glide is one of the companies that we're also creating currently right now, which is in the works. We're working on creating a predictive analytic for sleep. We're focusing our efforts on trying to help people help themselves. And the biggest thing with this is that we're realizing that there really aren't many other people doing this in the space. We're focusing on finding ways to help people improve not only their quality of life, but their sleep. And the first target category that we're focusing on are individuals who suffer from jet lag, because jet lag is a massive problem. And what they've found is that even transversing and transitioning between 1 hour before or after, so in the fall when we fall behind with daylight savings time, or even in the spring when we spring ahead an hour in daylight savings time, there's an amazing research study done out of Michigan focusing on heart rate attack emissions during that time. What they found is that when we actually skip an hour ahead and lose an hour, they saw a 20 to 24% increase in heart attack and heart-related admissions into the hospitals because of that 1 hour change in sleep. But they also saw the reverse was true, that when we fall behind and gain an hour in October, November, they actually saw a 20 to 24% decrease in heart-related admissions into their clinics based off of that. So if 1 hour of sleep can make that big of a difference, how much do you think 2, 3, 4 hours can make? 6 hours for me traveling from the Midwest to London, these can make massive outcomes and massive changes for people. And so while we're building Newcos, we have an ask, right? We're looking for people to join our journey. We're looking for people to come on board to bring their talent. We're looking for people to come on board who are passionate about what we're building and help us get connected with their networks to bring their influence. We're also looking for people to bring capital to help us raise money for these projects, to bring their knowledge, their expertise, but their financial backing to help us, because financially we'll need to be able to deploy some capital to be able to build companies. One of the things I'm most excited about is building an amazing medical advisory board. We already have some amazing individuals that we're talking to right now, but I'm looking for those people who are willing to think differently. I'm looking for those people who are looking to challenge the status quo of medicine today, who are free thinkers, who are willing to challenge the status quo of not only medicine, but what are we capable of? What's possible in our lives? Because I truly believe that because of the brain, we're truly limitless. What's been absolutely exciting about this entire journey for us is that being there from the beginning, I've seen the evolution that we've undergone over the last couple of years. And what's been awesome about this is that we've attracted some amazing investors. People from the former CEO of Mohegan Sun, 5 international best-selling authors, and a ton of amazing talent from Amazon, Allianz, American Airlines, Facebook, Twilio, Stripe, Volkswagen, Google, HSBC, Skype. I mean, the list goes on. We have even more than that. Former CEO of Coca-Cola at this point. We have a couple Coca-Cola executives that have invested in our studio because they believe in what we're building. They believe in the journey that we're creating and that we're pursuing. And this is just a few of them, right? So we have some amazing talent that are joining us on this journey. And for those of you on this call who are resonating with the messaging, my question for you is, why not you? Why not you? Why not become somebody who becomes a nobody, right? Now, what's been really enjoyable and exciting about this journey is the amazing people that we've attracted, but the amount of momentum that we have moving for us. And we're currently right now in the middle of our crowdfunding round. And so for those of you who are interested in joining our crowdfunding round, this allows the average everyday investor to get involved. We don't check your credit score. We don't have you be an accredited, investor, a limited partner in a VC firm. This allows the everyday person to get involved in our journey. And being involved in our journey as an equity stakeholder in the studio, you have equity in every company that we would ever create, which is an amazing value proposition. And so what I empower you to do is to check out our website, to check out our links that we're going to post, check out our Republic page where we're hosting a crowdfunding. And more importantly too, ask questions, right? ask questions, be curious, reach out to us, find me on LinkedIn, find me on, any platform possible, find anybody in the Nobody Studios group, and have a conversation with us. We're doing some amazing investor roundtables. We're doing some amazing hiring roundtables. We're doing some really interactive and really exciting events throughout the weeks to just showcase what we're building as a studio. So, well, I thank all of you for joining us for this stream. What I'd like to do is I'd like to empower you to have even more conversations and in more discussions overall. So, thank you for joining me today. I hope you learned something, and I hope you got a better idea about what we're building as a studio. And I look forward to hearing from you. So, thank you.